welcome to a very special episode of Brothers in Music A.R. Rahman edition. We can call this the Independence Day episode, which we planned one Independence Day ago. But like the British leaving India, this also got delayed for various reasons.
In fact, the British actually then preponed it, advanced it by a few months
They did,
at the very end. But yes.
So we're here to talk about two things. One is Rahman's Vande Mataram album, which came out in 1997 to coincide with 50 years of India's independence. And the second thing we're here to talk about, of course, is Rahman and the country and what it means to him and what Rahman means to the country.
Yes.
So
exactly.
These are some ideas we're here to talk about. Of course, just to introduce ourselves, there's Sharan here with me. He's an author, economist, pianist, electronic musician, and amateur Oculus cricket player. And
I feel like at some point, the electronic musician bit, I'll have to show proof. Until then, I'm happy to take all descriptors are acceptable here.
I'm Swaroop. I'm a musician. I'm a lawyer. I play the flute, and when nobody's watching, I play guitar also. So that's who I am, and so let's get into this.
Yeah.
So in our first episode, right, in the 1992 episode, we started actually with Rahman being A.R. Rahman, right? Dilip Kumar, who became A.R. Rahman and who burst on the scene as a person who converted from Hinduism to Islam in 1992 in the time of Babri Masjid. And we spoke about that. We spoke about how Roja released on Independence Day. And so in some way, when we're talking on Independence Day today, it's also now 33 years of A.R. Rahman's music being out in the world.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like his musical birthday or his cinematic birthday.
Yes.
Right?
And in many ways, therefore, the Rahman story is forged in the story of India in some ways. Right?
It is.
And we did speak about, as you were saying, how Rahman himself is a great image of syncretic India, about a Hindu who grew up in a Hindu household, eventually converted to Islam due to tragic circumstances, but also Sufi Islam kind of gave the family sense of succor in times of desperate need. And then subsequently, Rahman went on to become a symbol of not just Tamil music or even South Indian music, but also pan-Indian and eventually even global music. So, in that sense, Rahman and his music have come to embody what it is to be Indian in many ways. This country that has so many diverse cultures, diverse traditions, diverse people, and with music being kind of the unifying force.
Correct. So here I wanted to say a couple of things about what was happening in 1997, right? I remember as a child that 50 years of Indian independence logo. I don't know if
I remember
you remember. You're old enough to remember it.
Yeah.
So it was that flag was just folded like that with 50 and the little Ashoka Chakra on top. And so the nation was celebrating it, and it was very sort of universal celebration, like across every kind of divide, right? And at some level I felt that A.R. Rahman, being a South Indian Tamil from Madras, making this album, which became almost like the soundtrack of that 50 years of independence. A lot of other people made patriotic songs at that time, right? You remember Suno Gaur Se Duniya Walo, right?
Yeah.
So many songs. I Love My India from Pardes came just in the next year. So obviously it was again made to coincide with this whole 50 years of Indian independence. Everywhere there was music being made. But this was literally the soundtrack of 50 years of Indian independence. This Vande Mataram album, and more importantly, the title track Vande Mataram itself, Ma Tujhe Salam itself.
Yeah. Or Thai Manne Vanakkam for the Tamil version.
Thai Manne Vanakkam for the Tamil version of that same song. And for me, it's fascinating that it was a South Indian Tamil person who made that album.
Yeah.
Right? And we also have to remember as we started, this is literally Rahman being out in the world for 5 years.
Right.
Today we're looking at 33 years. So honestly, we have 27 years worth of episodes yet to come.
Yeah.
And in 5 years, he's now like the voice that captures that generation.
The spirit of those times.
The spirit of those times. And the other thing I wanted to, and I'll let you speak about both these things.
Yeah.
But the other thing I wanted to also say was there was another little movement musically going on at that time, which was threatening to sort of become a rival to Bollywood, and that was Indipop.
Yeah.
Right? And of course, Bollywood and cinema music being the hegemonic force that it is, just sort of took over all those indie pop people.
Yeah.
People either fell by the wayside or got absorbed into, like people like Shan and KK. All these people just got.
Even Alisha Chinoy.
Lucky Ali was singing for movies very soon. So all these people got.
Mohit Suri, no?
Mohit Chauhan,
sorry.
Mohit Chauhan was from Silk Route. So all these people got absorbed. Many others just fell by the wayside.
Yeah.
So that movement was also going on, and I remember a lot of conversations everywhere, and I'm sure like I've even recently read articles from that time where everybody's asked Rahman this question: are you going to start making more albums? Are you going to move away from cinema music and stuff? But very interestingly, Rahman hasn't. Like, he's even today primarily a cinema composer.
Yeah. And it's actually interesting. So let me talk about the second thing. I think the indie pop scene was actually very interesting because the sound was similar to what Rahman was trying to produce. I think Rahman basically had 2-3 things that were kind of superior to not everything that was coming out, but a vast majority of what was coming out. One is he had an amazing collection of singers he could rely on. Secondly, I think his mastery over the technology was more than just loops. He had access to a wide array of digital instruments. He also had a phenomenal and very diverse knowledge base that he could draw upon kind of sources from various traditions, Hindustani, Carnatic, folk, Western, all of these things, right? So I think that kind of gave him always an edge, and in some
technicians in his studio who were cutting edge technicians, right?
Yeah. So all of these things kind of gave his music still an edge over even the kind of more modern sound of indie pop. And eventually people did catch up. So today I was listening to I Love My India, and that clearly is Rahman inspired, like the arrangement and everything. And that sound is already, of course, not so much the style of singing, because Hariharan himself sang Colonel Cousin style songs in a very different way. But when he sings I Love My India, he sings it in a more mainstream Bollywood way. But the arrangement around it is actually, not very different in terms of just sound quality and instruments used than any of these indie pop songs. So I guess, and Rahman kind of was able to always stay a bit ahead of the curve.
ये दुनिया एक दुल्हन, ये दुनिया एक दुल्हन, दुल्हन के माथे की बिंदिया, ये मेरा इंडिया, ये मेरा इंडिया, I love my India, I love my India.
And on the first thing, I remember Rahman really capturing our imaginations back when we were growing up, right, in the 90s. I think both of us sang Vande Mataram on stage when we were, in school days, and not just us. It was like on every school day. It was other people singing. That track really, and in cricket matches, and it was also, and when I was watching I Love My India again today, I was just like, it was also kind of the surge in nationalism and patriotic sentiment that came with cable TV and the explosion of the cricket team and Sachin Tendulkar and that phenomenon and that feeling of being Indian.
Also the 96 World Cup the year before that in India.
Yeah.
And India did a decent run till the semi-final.
Yeah.
Of course, disastrous semi-final.
Yes.
But decent run, and there was celebration in the air the years leading up to 97, and 97 was, I remember it being a riot.
Yeah.
I remember that year being one thing of like, oh wow, we've come this far as a nation.
Yeah.
We're still in one piece.
Yeah.
That kind of.
I mean, it was amazing, and I have one kind of tangential memory. I remember there was a 50 years of independence drawing competition in the school. And I was at that time obsessed with cartoons and cartoonists, as you remember. So I was very, I was interested in kind of trying to draw cartoons to kind of represent 50 years of independence. And because I was so closely following Lakshman, R.K. Lakshman and all these people, my 50 years of independence was a bunch of people throwing umbrellas and chairs in parliament and, a bunch of beggars on the street begging. And then I, put it as 50 years of independence question mark. And I thought it was pretty cool. And actually, Amma, our mother, who's also kind of always had interesting ideas, also encouraged me. She said, yeah, that's a very cool idea. And I remember my class teacher in whatever, 4th standard telling me that this is not what we want, So clearly, in that sense,
It's very advanced political commentary for an 8-year-old.
yeah.
But
I know it so clearly. I practiced all this parliament drawing. Anyway, it is. Yeah, but it was a fascinating time to be around, and Rahman kind of exploded.
He did.
And my memory of actually the title track is the video.
Oh yeah, of course.
What a video.
Bala, the desert and those, whatever, the colors of India,
Yeah.
and Rahman in that white coat
Yeah.
and jeans,
Yeah.
walking down the
Yeah.
desert. Yeah, amazing.
And what a voice! And also it felt like a pop video, like or an ad jingle video,
Yeah.
like something that you would see in one of these posher, ads or something like that. And the whole thing felt like that. And those colors were amazing. And actually, that also captured the imagination. It was not just the track itself, but the video.
Correct. I agree.
Yeah, but also great track.
Absolutely great track.
Yeah.
It was it first thing it gave Rahman the space to explore the full range of his voice.
Yeah.
It starts with सारा जहां देख लिया है, तेरे जैसा कोई नहीं है. So it starts at the low sound and goes all the way up, right? Vande re. So it goes there, like Riga is where it ends. So it's very anthem-like track, which is what it was meant to be. But it gave Rahman that space to explore that range of his voice.
So it's interesting because the other thing that really struck me was that, and I think we spoke about this maybe offline, not on the previous or the next podcast or 98 podcast. But see, in this song, this is this right, or this right? But then that ma, that is that pa.
Yeah.
And
oh yeah, that
yeah. Right? He's going all the way up to that me.
Yeah.
And then
and then
that
coming back here. And that gives it that effect.
That
gives it that effect because he builds your tension with that yahan wahan sara jahan dekh liya hai. That's literally one note, right?
Yeah.
Sa 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 sa. So he builds that tension with that and then just sort of takes you on this thing.
Yeah.
So
it's a stunning anthem.
It's a great anthem. It's a great anthem. There was one weird connection I used to make in my head all the time.
I know the one, yeah.
Which one?
The Aladdin.
Yeah, of course. You remember that? Main gaya jahan bhi is there. So you can say, I can show you the world. It's like so similar to each other.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's a
coincidence
of
yeah,
some sort.
I'm not sure.
I'm sure he didn't copy that.
But
I used to always make that connection in my head. When I'd sing this, I'd sort of like slip into that.
Yeah.
In a whole new world.
Yeah. That's also very nice.
Very nice song.
Yeah.
But that's very different from Vande Mataram.
Yeah.
So
it's a very
not. But that one line, I used to make that weird
connection between the two.
two.
Yeah, and I think that the great thing about this is also the use of the mridangam.
Yeah.
Which as the main percussion instrument,
Yeah.
which is again in some ways goes back to what we started with, which is a South Indian composer composing the song in Hindi that becomes the anthem of the country, and using the mridangam as a prominent percussion instrument throughout, right? Which is a really nice choice.
It is.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of that classic Rahman longing, pathos, poignancy kind of thing when he says that "Tere paas hi main aa raha hoon."
Yeah.
Apni baat.
Tere paas hi main aa raha hoon. Yeah, that bit
Very-
is very nice. That bridge is very
The bridge is beautiful.
Beautiful.
And and again, classic Rahman, and so great track and so many memories actually, even now. And I heard Rahman sing this in Washington DC 2 weeks ago at the A.R. Rahman Wonderment concert, and it was a phenomenal concert for many reasons, because I hadn't been to a Rahman live concert in 15-16 years, and I've only been to one before this. And so one was, it was very nostalgic to hear all these songs, but seeing it live, and I'm a big, as we run this podcast, so we are both big Rahman listeners, but even then to see all of this live was amazing. But this song, towards the end, this came I think right before Chaya Chaya, just the room is standing, like there's nobody sitting in that room, everybody's standing, everybody's waving their phones, and it's so emotional, and he nails it. But the good thing with that he also did was he got all the singers to chime in, so it was like all the 3 male leads and the 2 female leads who all were part of the concert, they all come in, and it was amazing to see it live. So it's a great song to see
It
live.
is, I mean, I've also heard a Rahman concert where this was the final song.
Yeah.
So it is one of those staples of his live concerts. And
Yeah.
I mean, very obvious that it will be.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure even when he started composing it, he knew that I'm going to be singing this for the next 30 years or so.
And for a guy who made so many, he's made anthems after this, but nothing compares to this. This is the singular anthem, Rahman anthem.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So, really good. Okay, so that's one track.
He also made, but I don't know that's massive. Pray for me, brother.
Oh yeah, Pray for me, brother. He made the Taj anthem around the same time. He made all kinds of tributes.
The other companion thing he did with this was the Janagana Mana with all the classical musicians.
It's very nicely done.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
That was very well put together.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember those, those voices, those instruments. I mean, it's just.
And he gave everybody, he had some 15 individual versions of the Janagana Mana, aside from his.
Yeah.
And every single one of them was programmed, arranged differently, so you could actually hear each of those voices pop in their own way, and that was great.
Correct.
भारत भाग्य विधाता
पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा
द्राविड उत्कल बंगा.
Politically, I just something struck me when I was thinking about this podcast, which is the fact that he chose Vande Mataram. It's such a controversy.
Yeah.
This of course the right will keep on pushing that story of how Janagana Mana was made and Vande Mataram was pushed to the side and all of that. But I don't know. I don't know if that conversation was there when this album and song were being made.
I'm sure it was there somewhere, because I remember vaguely reading now, recently, that there were some voices who were like, maybe we should not use it. I think maybe on O2 Music Sheets, which again we refer to often on this podcast, which is doing this great series of videos on Rahman, talking about Rahman with Rahman's collaborators. Somebody was asked this question, were you worried? Because this is the phrase, and I think it was Mehboob himself who was asked, and he said, no, it was not a big deal back then, but there were some people who said, but nobody really cared too deeply about it. But he then pairs Vande Mataram with Ma Tujhe Salam.
Yeah.
Which, Salam should in no way be seen as a non-Indian or whatever, but in today's times everything is more polarized.
Correct.
But he kind of pairs those two, and I thought Mehboob did a great job with
Correct. Making that, I know.
And
the other interesting thing Mehboob does with the lyrics is he makes a random reference to Jules Verne, where he says, "Assi nahi 100 din duniya ghuma hai." I used to, when I was younger, I used to think, why? What is could he not phrase this better? Then I realized, around the world in 80 days is a thing. So he's saying, "Assi nahi 100 din duniya ghuma hai." I have searched 100 days, forget 80 days, I couldn't find a better place than
I actually, this time when I was listening to the song in the concert, I also thought it was a diaspora anthem almost. It's pura, duniya ghum ke, and then I've come back to you, and tere paas hi mein aa raha hu.
No, when you're saying diaspora anthem, I've searched the world. I remembered another 50 years of independence song. East or West, India is the best.
Yeah, that's true.
East or West.
सारे जहां से अच्छा हिंदुस्तान हमारा, हम बुलबुलें हैं इसकी, ये गुलसिता हमारा। ईस्ट और वेस्ट, इंडिया इज द बेस्ट। ईस्ट और वेस्ट, इंडिया इज द बेस्ट।
That is so true. They all cashed in. At
They
that
all
point.
cashed in. They all
Yeah, that
cashed
was a
in.
big thing
Yeah,
to do.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, great track. And I think a phenomenal start to the album. But actually, the album is so much more nuanced than
It is.
just this one track, right? There's so much else
Absolutely, absolutely.
happening.
There's two versions of Vande Mataram itself, and I love both of them.
Yeah.
I love both of them. I keep getting confused which one is which,
Yeah.
but I love both the
Yeah.
versions.
I think the thing that I found really interesting was the one where there's the female chorus and the jazz
The saxophone.
saxophone
Yeah,
by
yeah.
Snake Davis.
Yeah.
That is an incredible combination of those two things, because the saxophone is not sticking to the des rag or des ragam, but it's kind of playing around it.
Yeah.
But the female chorus, like there are certain gamakas or murtis that they
Yeah.
do, the phrases that they sing, it's amazing.
Amazing.
Amazing. And the combination of that acoustic guitar, just like soft strumming of the guitar and the chime bell or whatever Rahman's standard thing, and those voices. I mean, wow, the raga comes alive.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the phrase you're talking about is Sujalam. Nam Sufalam Malayaja Sheetalam Malayaja Sheetalam Sasya Shamalam Mataram
Now.
Vande Mataram.
Yeah. Yeah, and then even
Vande Mataram. Yeah.
Yeah, right? I mean, those are
Beautiful.
and Rahman really. I mean, the one thing he does is he says everybody has to sing the same phrases.
Yeah.
So that's what makes the chorus really good also, because he's not saying, he's making very sure that every voice in the chorus sings consistently. I think it's Anuradha Sriram for sure,
Yeah.
one of the voices. And fantastic.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
वन्दे मातरम् सुजलां सुफलां मलयज शीतलां सस्य श्यामलां मातरम् वन्दे मातरम्।
And then there is the missing
The
version.
missing. This is the revival.
This is the revival, that is the missing.
Missing.
And missing is so subtle. It's just that one guitar. Tung, tung,
Correct.
tung, the guitar keeps going
Correct.
with one strum, one note being strummed. And everything is slightly softer. The background is kind of put
Correct.
forward, and the voices are, the tune, the melody itself is slightly behind. says missing, but actually it's also very evocative in its own way.
It is. You think it says missing because it's sort of muted?
It's muted. I think that's what it is.
That's probably what it is.
Yeah, and
Beautiful. That's a great track. And
yeah,
there's such lovely interpretations of that Vande Mataram itself.
right.
Right? And
Right.
I was just thinking, like, because I'm trying to play some jazz now, and I was thinking, how would a jazz musician who doesn't know Desh approach that solo,
Yeah.
right? And I heard that solo over and over again, like,
Yeah.
especially the last solo,
Yeah,
the last
Yeah.
stretch that he plays for about 2 or 3 minutes.
yeah,
And my guess is probably this, because Rahman doesn't, you see, jazz musicians work off chords, right? They hear chords and they play over chords. That's how they improvise. But here, Rahman not giving much by the way of chords. It's just I think it's in D, if I'm not mistaken, and he's just giving that D.
Yeah.
There's nothing else
Yeah.
to work with. So I think it's some free interpretation of the melody. Like he's
the melody
feeding
lines.
off phrases from the melody itself,
Mm.
without being bound by the raga, because that's not how he improvises.
yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
So, and I think that's, at some level, that's a stroke of genius of Rahman to get somebody totally outside the system to play that solo.
Yeah.
Because it would have been so easy for him to just go to Prasanna or go to Kadri Gopalnath. Yeah, if he had gone to Kadri Gopalnath and just given him that loop in D and said, go for it, he would have got a splendid Desh there.
Yeah.
But he doesn't do that.
yeah,
He decides, no, I want to go to a musician who will not be bound by this raga.
yeah,
And it's very difficult. Like, I am sure if you keep playing that D and you ask me to improvise, after a point I will keep coming. And you tell me this, you're playing over Vande Mataram,
Yeah.
I'll keep coming back to Desh. However hard I try, those phrases will slip in. So I think it was a stroke of genius of him to go to someone outside the system.
yeah.
And get that solo out of them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
It's pretty amazing also because Desh itself, like you're saying, is a wonderful raga.
It
So
is.
there's so much to do there.
Yeah,
And, you know, especially
yeah,
the
yeah.
3-minute solo, you can easily pull out all the stops, and that will by itself be a phenomenal solo if you want to go that way. So, and of course, the main Vande Mataram track itself is, beautiful track.
Yeah.
So amazing, both missing and revival, great interpretations of the Vande Mataram.
Yeah.
And then there is
Tauba Tauba.
Tauba Tauba.
खुद से जंग लड़ता हूँ, रब से ये कहता हूँ, चारों ओर जो होता है उससे मैं गुस्सा हूँ। तौबा तौबा नफ्स मगरूर है, तौबा तौबा सच से दूर है, तौबा तौबा दिल बेनूर है, तौबा तौबा कैसा दौर है।
I like Tauba Tauba.
Yeah.
It's one of my
Yeah,
like it's a song I actually listen to more often than I thought I'd be listening to.
same. Yeah.
Like, hey, let me listen to Tauba Tauba.
Yeah.
And I listen to it.
Because it's some kind of, I was paying attention to the lyrics this time, and it's an inequality style anthem
It
about
is.
anger,
Yeah.
right? And which I thought was like, oh, that is interesting, right? So I find, he says, चारों ओर जो होता है खुद से मैं गुस्सा हूँ,
Yeah.
and even later he says दौलत बढ़ती है रोज अमीरों की,
Correct.
what about the गरीब?
Yeah.
It is Rahman again kind of subtly doing the cartoon equivalent of 50 years of independence.
Exactly. And for him to put that in a 50 years of independence album,
Yeah.
at some level shows you his political maturity.
Yeah.
Right? Shows you that he's a political guy. Like
Yeah.
whatever you may say about him, that he doesn't always show his politics
Yeah.
or doesn't always he honestly in the last 14 years, so much happening against Muslims, you don't see him
10 years,
stand up.
11 years, you mean?
11 years.
Yeah,
11 years,
yeah.
Sorry, 11 years. I meant since 2014.
Yeah.
So you don't see Rahman always stand up at the forefront and say, "Hey, this is wrong, that is wrong."
Yeah.
And you do see criticism. Even so recently he made music for Chhawa, for instance, which is an out and out Hindutva nationalist project movie. It's not even a film. It's propaganda, right? And he made music for that. Not particularly great music, but he made music
Yeah.
for that. So you could say all that, but at the same time, every now and then his politics, I think, peaks out.
Yeah.
And this Toba Toba is one place where it does peak
Yeah.
out. Where, like, he's like, yes, 50 years of independence we are celebrating.
Yeah.
We should do that, but let's also keep this in mind.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
I am angry about some things.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
let me put that also
Yeah.
on record.
And it's really cool. And I think in Rahman you should typically you judge him by the subtle messaging within the songs, but also by choices. Like he
Yeah.
doesn't do a chava often, and there are chava is also. I mean, this is not to defend Rahman and not to kind of justify the Hindutva project in some strong way, but chava is not a Kerala story or a Kashmir Files or whatever. There is a difference between the two. And Akshay Khanna's portrayal of Aurangzeb did get plaudits for it being, I mean, maybe it's Akshay Khanna and he's a great actor and especially over time he's matured, but for us being shown some kind of internal monologue. Anyway, that is a separate
Yeah.
debate altogether.
Different podcast.
Different podcast. But let's come back to this album. And yeah, the other, I think, more overtly kind of political, especially in today's age, song is Gurus of Peace.
Oh, absolutely.
Sunshine, join our blue skies. Sunshine, break the cloud. Blue skies breaking out. Join our sunshine, join our blue skies. Sunshine, break the
Absolutely. Yeah.
That is a
Yeah, to do a song with a Pakistani musician.
yeah.
Back then itself, actually, it was not seen as such a revolutionary
Yeah, it was
thing
not.
at all at
Yeah,
that time.
yeah.
Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan was another face on our TV.
Yeah.
He used to sing Afri Afri.
Yeah.
We saw him all the time.
Yeah.
I've heard his other recordings and stuff were also floating around.
Yeah.
People who did go and search. I remember a cousin had sourced some Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan cassette of his ghazals and
Yeah.
of his Sufi music, and we'd heard them.
Yeah.
So he was not some
Yeah, and we heard Pakistani band.
weird Pakistani.
Junoon was again
Junoon
Indipop.
was huge. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So strings came later.
Yeah.
And so there were Pakistani singers,
Correct.
and of course, Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan is a whole different level. There is no.
Correct. And for a Pakistani singer to be featured in a 50 years of India independence album, right? For
Yeah.
75 years of India independence, nobody will dare put a Pakistani.
Yeah.
And I think that's a step back
Yes.
from where we were at that time.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Of course, I mean, I'm not saying the whole blame lies here. 2 years after this, there was Kargil and
Yeah.
all those things happened.
Yeah.
Of course, all that happened. I'm not saying, I'm
Yeah.
not discounting any of that.
Yeah.
But I think it's a fairly revolutionary act,
Yeah.
seen from today's lens.
Yeah.
To have a and to say, oh, we are gurus of peace.
Yeah.
And at some level, recognizing that, hey, this neighbor of yours is also today 50 years old.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
It is to say, yes, we are celebrating, so are they.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And it is very clearly about peace. So
It is,
So
it
it
is.
acknowledges the fact that this is not like a fraternal relationship without problems. There are a whole bunch of things
Yeah.
going on between the two countries. This is pre-Kargil and post the Kashmir exodus in '89 and everything else that happened then. But there is an acknowledgement that but we are still kind of bound together by common history, by common culture, traditions, and music, and we bring together these two. But also, the one other thing I'll say is on the song itself, before we go into analysing the song, Mehboob has this great story of Rahman, I think, flying down to Lahore or something to record Fateh Ali Khan. And in this sweaty studio, they kind of in the middle of something, and Mehboob says, this is so unlikely to happen today, where Rahman calls Fateh Ali Khan, he says, yeah, come, they do it, and they record it in a few hours, and then Rahman leaves, and he's like, it's surreal to think that all of this happened back then. And the one thing he always says is, we were just sweating throughout because it was so hot, and this man was just going for it and singing beautifully, but also great composition.
Absolutely. Lovely composition. The beginning, the children's voices,
Yeah.
it took me very long to figure out what they were saying.
Yeah, what if Shine On Blue Sky or something, right?
Yes. Shine on, blue, shine on. Sunshine, shine on blue skies. Sunshine, break the clouds, blue skies, something.
Yeah.
So I used to think because so many Rahman songs had Chinese sounding introduction.
Back, especially
In that phase. So
Exactly.
I honestly I thought like this is some China, sunshine, China, blue skies. I was like, why Gurus of Peace India part was China doing it? For a long time I couldn't figure out what it was, you know.
I mean, this is I mean, it's also nice. We speak about this in the '98 podcast about how Rahman doesn't use children's voices as much anymore. But this is a great example of a phenomenal
Absolutely.
children's chorus, right?
You know, the children's chorus coming, then the guitar kicks in, and then Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan's voice comes that with that little alap, and then the and it goes from there, right? Lovely, like it's a beautifully put together track. Of course, he's repurposing his Rahman is repurposing Porale Ponnuthai from Karuthamma, which itself is a powerful, amazing song.
Yeah.
போராளி பொன்னு தாயி பொல பொலவென்று கண்ணீர் விட்டு தண்ணீரும் ஜோறும் தந்த மண்ண விட்டு பால் பீச்சும் மாட்ட விட்டு பஞ்சாரத்து கோழிய விட்டு போராளி பொட்ட புள்ள ஊற விட்டு.
And that's a very it's a song about like loss and grief and all of that, and to use that same tune in this kind of like brotherly harmony, fraternity kind of way, it shows you that like you can use that same source material to convey like different kinds, because this is a very different song from that.
It is.
The tune may be the same, but the song is very different.
Especially the Porale has the sad version, the woman singing. That is a heartbreaking song.
That's
it's exactly the same melody. Slower, less instruments. This has that very peppy groove that kind of kicks in there, and this song kind of keeps going. I also thought that this is the first time I think Rahman, and he's used the word ishq a few times after this, of course, most famously in Ishq Bina, but also there's ishq ada hai from Ada. Right, and where he kind of uses the word ishq in the beginning of a sentence over and over again. So even here he says ishq sare heroes, whatever that whole paragraph, Zanjeer ishq hai, then some other ishq, so there's like a series of ishq, and again very nice, very simple lyrics actually. If you pay attention to the lyrics, they're not very complicated, and it's about love, it's about there's so much else that we can all share. We all are under the same skies, under the same moon, and this is for everyone. So why should we then have fights between us, right?
I mean, now that you say that, there's so much ishq in that. It's about like whatever, no? And that was basically the message of that speech Umar Khalid made, and he's now in jail for 5 years for that. So this is, I mean, we now live in a very different country.
And both countries have changed.
Oh yeah, of course, both countries have changed. No doubt about that.
And I think in Pakistan's case, like in many parts of the world, it's been a kind of secular is a strong word, but and, in this context can be misinterpreted. But basically, it's been a decline with few ups, like consistent decline for a long time now. And India is also kind of going down, especially in the last decade or so. And so it's kind of a very different world that we're looking back on, right? So, but phenomenal track, really enjoyed listening to it even when I was listening to it for this podcast. This is a song I go back to quite often even now. From this, so it's Toba Toba, this song, Revival, I go back to Missing, and all 5 songs. Vande Mataram,
only you.
And then there's Only You.
Which I don't listen to it all that often.
Same. I think it's nice. I think it's a pleasant song, and I think it's the first time Rahman basically starts singing some English words. We'll come to another English song from this album, which is not on the original album but was used in the international version. But for Only You, at least that just that phrase Only You, and then he plays around with that Only You a whole bunch of times.
आंखों की प्यास है इस दिल
cool way of using that ooh sound and kind of going this way and that. It's actually nice. I think if you're in the mood for it, it's a good song to listen to. But it's not.
The lyrics, by and large, I mean, I'm just remembering them. I heard it even in the lead up to this podcast. It could literally be a love song.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's just that it's in this Vande Mataram album, so you think of everything as he's referring to the country, he's referring to. But it could literally be a love song.
And I think the thing with Mehboob's lyrics in general are that he writes. His lyrics are always serviceable with flashes of brilliance. That's how I say it. I mean, of course, if we go digging, we may find a bad Mehboob lyric song, but typically it's appealing to a broad base. It does it pretty well. And so if you ask him to write a song about India, that could also be like a love song. It's easy for him to write. He's not using very fancy language or like gimmickry and all of that. It's just like this is the song, this is the content here, take it. But it works. In this context, it really works because the music is so good that you don't need to write very deep lyrics.
Correct.
And Rahman kind of wanted to appeal to a broad base. The one other thing I'll say is I was listening to I think was it Rajiv Menon or somebody else who was talking about how Rahman was obsessed with this album, right? So this was an independent project, and everybody was like, and he would keep taking people to go listen to some tracks here and there. So Mani Ratnam, when he was doing Dil Se, he would keep telling Mani Ratnam that, I'm doing this song here, come upstairs. And so there was apparently upstairs, he had converted into another studio in his old Panchatan studios. I think he was still back then. And there he would just disappear for hours, and he would just be building, and classic Rahman style, building a song as opposed to having everything in place already. So building, putting in loops, putting in some small pieces here, some vocal bit there, and apparently he did it for like months, and people still doubted it. So there were people. In fact, Rahman says it somewhere that there were two types of people who would listen to it. One would listen to it and be like, "Why are you even doing this? You're wasting your time." And then the other would be like, "This is crazy. This is incredible," and you're onto something. And he was like, "I don't know which way it'll go. I just released it, and I never thought it'll be such a big deal." But truly,
it was. Truly was. There's also the Tamil Vande Mataram.
Yes.
Thai Vande Mataram. Which is pretty much the same song, but the arrangement is slightly different.
Oh,
It is. The mridangam is slightly more pronounced in the
I
Tamil
see.
version. There are some parts where the only percussion is the mridangam.
I see.
Yeah,
Oh, I
and
didn't know.
otherwise it's
More or less
the same. More or less the same.
I see.
Yeah, I think the phrase Thai Manne Vanakam doesn't sit as well in the tune as Ma Tujhe Salam.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because there's one extra syllable there, somehow it doesn't, Thai and Ma are okay. Tujhe is Manne and Vanakam, that word doesn't like,
Sit like salam.
yeah, sit as beautifully in the tune as Salam does.
Yeah. And he uses Vande Mataram.
He uses
It's a pan Indian word or phrase in some sense.
Yeah.
He doesn't change that.
Yeah.
But it's also a very, I go back to that also sometimes just for like variation. But overall, great album. And actually the thing I want to flag, which makes it, say, different from, I don't know, even Jeans or Kabhi Na Kabhi from 98, is that the sound production on this is much better. Like the sound quality, the instruments, and you can tell that Rahman was obsessed with making this because he spends more time and devotes that much more attention. So if you listen to it with good speakers today, it still sounds like it was made today.
Absolutely.
There is nothing about it that suggests that it was made in 97.
Yeah.
that is remarkable. Truly remarkable for us. There are so many songs that will not stand the test of time like that, and literally the entire album, barring maybe only you, some parts, that sound like it came out of today, and that is amazing. There are 2 other tracks, by the way, in this album. One is Masoom, and
I didn't know till now because I only heard the cassette, so I didn't know there were 2 other
So
tracks.
this actually I was introduced to by another cousin a few years ago, the Musafir song and Masoom both actually, and they were apparently, again googling and Wikipedia tells us, they were only used for the international edition. Musafir is basically takes Ottagate Katiko or Roop Suhana Lagta Hai and rearranges and adds English. Rahman singing in English. Yeah, right. So it's Rahman singing in English, which he does every now and then, including in "Pray for Me, Brother."
Correct.
And I think it's nice, but it did make me wonder why he did it, and what the purpose was. I think if you listen to it a few times, if you're in the mood, it's actually a pleasant listen. Masoom is a bit more. I mean, I haven't heard it enough to have a strong opinion either way. It's a nice, pleasant listen. Nothing to write home about in a strong way. But that is the Vande Mataram soundtrack. Any other thoughts about?
I don't know. Any idea why he didn't do something for 75 years of independence? No idea at all.
That's a good question. I think the closest 75 years was 2022, right?
Yeah.
So that's a good question. Well, did he do anything? I don't know.
No, he didn't.
Okay.
I don't know why. I mean, and honestly, I don't think it was as big a deal as 50 years for some reason.
Yeah, it was not.
Right?
Maybe 50 was like a
More round
figure
that kind of thing.
Maybe. But again, if you think of all the anthems Rahman has done, the thing that comes to mind is in Mirza, which is a recent album.
Yeah.
There's this Team India Hai Hum, which is an
Yeah.
So he keeps every few years he's always trying to land one of these, and nothing has kind of stood.
I like Singapore. It's not a national anthem, but it's whatever.
It's about women.
It's about women. It's actually a nice song. Singapore is a nice song.
Very nice song. I was trying to think.
I thought Alapuran Tamilan is a great track.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. Like musically, I'm saying it's so interesting, and it captured the whole of Tamil Nadu when it released. Right? Everybody was saying Alapuran Tamilan, and they were like, it was so many reels
would come
out with that on the background. So,
but like think of the Tamil anthem he made, which Karunanidhi wrote. Kalenda wrote.
Correct.
Again, didn't really stick. Or even though he had a hockey anthem at one point.
He had a chess anthem.
Like Taj Mahal, some song he composed. And he keeps trying to come up with these kind of more conventional anthem songs, which is not part of a movie, and it doesn't click. But he does do, and we will cover a lot of this going forward too, but he does do a lot of more patriotic songs.
He does.
And
like
they
Bhagat Singh.
Rang De Basanti.
Rang De Basanti.
Bose, the forgotten hero.
Bose.
Mangal Pandey has some good songs.
Correct.
So and there was a point when even he says in some interview from 15 years ago, where he was like, at one point he just kept getting these.
Yeah.
He was seen as the nationalistic movie.
Chale Chalo from Lagan.
Yeah. I mean, again, great. It's actually an anthem song. So
Ye Jo Desh Hai Tera from
Swadesh. The whole album itself you can see as but Ye Jo Desh Hai, I think is the closest to like a proper kind of patriotic national anthem type thing that he has managed to.
Correct. But that was also more reflective than just celebratory that Maa Tujhe Salam.
Yeah, and also the same dance for a spirit.
Yeah.
Tujhe pukara desh tu baap. I think Rahman has this, I don't know what it is about that spirit that he's able to capture very well. But he has a lot of these songs, and I think he, every now and then he kind of dips into that spirit and he's able to pull out something. I always wonder why, other than Desh Mere, that bit, which you can, it's not really in Desh Raga, but closer to Desh Raga than anything else. He hasn't done like a nationalistic song, but it's very in the Desh or Desh Rag, because I think that would be a nice thing to see Rahman do something like that, but I don't think he's ever really kind of gone out and out, and he's always pulled out phrases here and there, but not like a full on time. That's something I wonder why he didn't do. But yeah, great album, great soundtrack.
And yeah,
And thoughts. I mean, I think Rahman. We talked a little bit about his politics and him being a symbol. I think that over the years he's
here and there, some things will come out. Like I remember when he was doing a bunch of live shows after demonetization, he would like make some, like in Urvasi, he'd say like, "Ainur note sell up on a take it easy policy."
which means if the 500 rupee note is no longer valid,
Then take it easy policy.
Yeah.
Those kind of comments he would make
Yeah.
here and there.
Yeah.
But
And even there was a couple against Hindi imposition. I think he made
Yeah.
or some pro Tamil comment.
correct. That he does from time to time.
And otherwise, he just lets the music do the talking.
Yeah.
He doesn't really interfere.
He doesn't.
Yeah, but great album, and I hope.
With that we come to the end of this discussion, this Independence Day
Yep.
episode. Happy, slightly belated Independence Day to all our listeners.
Yes.
And the 3 people who watch the video. As usual, we are wearing like really horrendous clothes.
But it's but I'm glad we recorded it on Independence Day, and before midnight or just a little bit after
Just a
midnight
little
on the 15th now, so we're
Yeah.
at 16th. And happy Independence Day to everyone. Happy Independence Week, and I hope you all tune in to listen to our 97 episode, which has the writer and podcast, Brothers in Music fan, but also phenomenal writer, Saman Subramanian.
You mean the 98 episode?
98 episode, sorry. The 98 episode.
Yes, the 98 episode is with Saman Subramanian. There we'll talk about Dil Se and 1947 Earth.
Yeah.
And a bit more building on the themes of this episode also on, 50 years of India's independence. and
Yeah.
all that. So
Yeah.
please do tune in for that as well. And see you soon. Thank you.
Yeah, and where can we find you on social?
Oh, I'm T Nagar Tornado on Instagram and Twitter, and
I'm Sharan Needley on Twitter. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.